Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. I'm here today with what is always one of my favorite videos to film each and every month. And this, of course, is my TBR and TBW video. This time out, we are talking July 2021, to be read and to be watched piles. So if you guys don't know, I basically go through and I tell you what books I'm planning to read in the upcoming month. And then I play my trusty letter and prompt game with my Scrabble bag here full of letters and my playing cards that have different prompts on them to help me kind of sort of randomly decide from my physical media collection what I'm going to pop into the player in the upcoming month. So this is always one of my favorites, and I think that TBW game is the main reason why. It's just a lot of fun because I never know where it's going to take me. So I am really excited to share with you guys the things I do know that are already on my TBR and my TBW. So hopefully you guys are as well. If you do enjoy this video, please give it a like down below. That really does help me out. But with that said, guys, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to figure out exactly what I'm going to read and watch in July 2021. As I usually do, I have a bunch of different items for my TBR, some physical, some digital, some graphic novels, some audiobooks. So what I'm going to do is start off with my physical TBR. And these first two here I'm really excited about because they're actually revisits that I haven't read in a very long time. So I'm actually, this coming weekend here, I'm heading out to on vacation, and we are heading to Ohio. So what better way to celebrate being in Ohio than by reading some R.L. Stine? So I've talked about Night of the Living Dummy in the past on this channel. It was always one of my favorites growing up, and I read it, I think it was last year, I read it again in audiobook form, and I liked it, but I was kind of surprised, I guess, by the ending because I'd forgotten how it all went down. So I figure if I was surprised by that, I'll probably be even more surprised by these because it has been just probably decades since I've read these. So I'm going to put on my physical TBR Night of the Living Dummy 2 in the Goosebumps series, and then Night of the Living Dummy 3. So these are both sequels, of course, to Slappy's debut in Night of the Living Dummy. He has a long legacy of books in this Goosebumps series, not just the original 3 from the original Goosebumps line, but also in like there's Slappy's World. There's all these other books out there with Slappy starring in them. He's kind of the mascot at this point for Goosebumps. But yeah, so like I said, it's been a very long time since I've read these, so I'm really excited to check these two out again. I don't even really remember what either of them are about at this point. So yeah, I am definitely taking these with me on my trip down to Ohio, because that, of course, is where R.L. Stine is from. I think his autobiography is called It Came From Ohio. So yeah, I don't know. These should be a heck of a lot of fun, and they are nice and short, so I should hopefully get through both of them on my trip, but we'll see how well I do, because obviously I'll be doing a ton of other things as well. But yeah, so the first books on my physical TBR are going to be Night of the Living Dummy 2 and Night of the Living Dummy 3, both books from the original Goosebumps series written by R.L. Stine. Moving over to my physical graphic novels that I plan to finish in the month of July. First one here is actually one that I'm about halfway through. I know I won't get to it by the next few days here. So this is Elseworlds Batman Volume 2. And this is written by Doug Mensch, I believe is how you would say that. So this is essentially Batman versus Dracula type of thing. Elseworlds places our known characters in kind of unfamiliar or awkward, odd situations that you wouldn't normally expect. Of course, Batman here is being put in the world where there is Dracula. And so this is a vampire story, and it's done quite well. Like I said, I'm about halfway through the second volume in here. So this actually collects, as it says down here, 3 different volumes. It is Batman and Dracula Red Rain, which is a very popular one. Batman Bloodstorm, which is what I'm on right now, which is the sequel to Red Rain. And then Batman Crimson Mist. Now, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's part 3 in this trilogy, but I don't know, I guess, for 100%. Because I haven't gotten to it yet. But Dracula Red Rain, he's fighting Dracula. Yeah, Batman and Dracula Red Rain, he's fighting Dracula. And then Batman Bloodstorm, he's actually the main villain, and that is Joker. So, I don't know, it's just a really interesting story with Batman as a vampire trying to take down Dracula. So, yeah, it's pretty fun so far. I'm really excited to finish it. About halfway there, so I'll finish this one in the month of July. The last book on my physical TBR is going to be another graphic novel, and this one actually plays into my 2021 media goals, where I'm trying to set out to read so many media tie-in related items. This is actually the graphic novel adaptation of Django Unchained, which of course is the Quentin Tarantino Western, which I absolutely love. So I am really excited for this one, just because it's going to be bloody and action-packed and fun. I cannot wait to read this one. I actually randomly found this one maybe a month ago or two at Ollie's, and so when I saw it, of course I had to grab it because I love this movie, a winner of 2 Academy Awards, as it says there. But this is just a fantastic Tarantino film. It's so difficult for me to say what my favorite Tarantino film is because I love them all so much, just in different ways. But this one is definitely up there. This is a great movie, so I am really excited to check out this adaptation. And you can see I haven't even opened this yet. It's still in its plastic. So this is one I will get through in July, and I am really excited to do so. So the last one on my physical TBR is going to be Django Unchained. And this one is written by Reginald Hudlin, R.M. Guerrera, Dennis Cowan, a bunch of people down here, as you can see. So yeah, that's the last one on my physical TBR. So now let's talk about my digital TBR. And I guess since I'm talking graphic novels, I'll move over to my Marvel Unlimited pick for the month. As I mentioned in last month's TBR and TBW video, I did recently subscribe to Marvel Unlimited for the entire year. So each month I hope to fit a new MU volume in here at least that I can get through. So this time around, I am going to be reading a character that I know literally nothing about. This is Moon Knight Volume 1, and this is called From the Dead by Declan Shalvey. So this one is interesting to me because from what I hear about it, it is essentially kind of Marvel's answer to Batman, which is obviously one of my favorite characters. And so I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out. For Marvel Unlimited, of course, they don't go by volume, they go single issues. So I'll just be reading the first 6 issues of this, which is volume 1 of the series. So yeah, I know the backstory is much different. Like I think Moon Knight is magical or something like that, compared to Batman, who obviously is not. So it's going to be different, but he is a detective who works at night, much like, you know, the Dark Knight. So I don't know, it's very intriguing to me, so I'm really excited to check it out. So Moon Knight Volume 1 is going to be the Marvel Unlimited pick for this month. Now let's talk about some of the audiobooks that I plan to finish this month. And normally I only put 2 audiobooks on, but this month I went with 3 because 2 of them are relatively short. But I am interested in all 3 of them, so I'm really excited about them. The first one I hope to finish next month is called Chainsaw Confidential, written by Gunnar Hansen. So if you are a horror fan, this is probably familiar to you. Gunnar Hansen, of course, played Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so this is a kind of making of, from his perspective, a behind-the-scenes book of the making of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a movie I love, of course. So I am really excited to get to this one. I have heard so many great things about this over the years. It is supposed to be just one of the definitive horror books, or books about horror films out there, however you want to say that. And so this one should be a lot of fun. And it's, like I said, it's a pretty short one. So hopefully I will be able to get through this one, which I know I will, but I'm just excited to. So the first one on my audiobook TBR is Chainsaw Confidential, written by Leatherface himself, Gunnar Hansen. The second audiobook on my TBR is a relatively new one. This is Andy Weir's new book. This is called Project Hail Mary. So this is the newest story by Andy Weir, who of course is most well known for his work on The Martian, which, admittedly, The Martian, the book is probably lesser in my eyes than the film. I loved the film, and I watched it before I read the book, so that might, be influencing me. But I will admit, I like the movie more than the book. And it's not that the book was bad, I just prefer the movie. And then his follow-up, Artemis, I know kind of where, Martian gets a ton of praise. Artemis is kind of on the opposite side of that spectrum. It isn't loved. Now, I own that one in the physical form, but I have not read it yet, so I can't comment. But this one was on sale recently on Audible, so I had to grab it for the cheap price that it was, and I am really excited to dive into this one. This is supposed to be like, there is a astronaut who has amnesia, doesn't know what's going on, but I think he remembers at least that he is basically humanity's last hope. So it's kind of an apocalyptic film, but set in space, which I am completely here for. Cannot wait to dive into this one. This should be a heck of a lot of fun, and much like Martian, this one is getting a ton of praise, at least that I've seen. So yeah, really excited to dive into Project Hail Mary, written by Andy Weir. The last book on my TBR for July is going to be The Other People, written by C.J. Tudor. So this is another one where I have read one other book from C.J. Tudor, The Chalk Man, and I liked it. I didn't love it like I hoped I would, but I really enjoyed it. It was a really well-written book, and it was creepy. It was just a good book. And so when I saw this one go on sale, I had to pick it up. The really like the plot synopsis here just really grabbed me, and I have to see what happens. I think I'm not going to read it verbatim, but it's something like our main character is driving down the road and he sees this little girl pop up in the back of this semi-truck or back of this truck, whatever it is, and she mouths the words "daddy." Turns out it's his 5-year-old daughter or 3-year-old daughter, whatever it is. It's his daughter, and he never sees her again. And so, like, that just sounds amazing, even though I completely butchered the synopsis. It still sounds like something that is really cool. So I am really intrigued to check this one out. And like I said, C.J. Tudor, she's an excellent author, so I'm hoping I will like this one at least as much as I liked The Chalk Man. So the last book on my TBR is the audiobook The Other People, written by C.J. Tudor. Okay, so now let's move over to the TBW side of this video, and what I'm going to do is what I've been doing the past few months here is start by ranking the previous month's TBW films that I was able to complete, and fortunately I was able to watch all 3 of these from last month, so yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about them. Of course, they were Paths of Glory, Chronos, and War of the Worlds, so yeah, let's talk about these. Let me rank these, starting with number 3, moving up to number 1. I'm not going to give full thoughts on these because I am going to do a video where I talk about the entire first year's TBW movies in one big video, but ranking these from number 3 to number 1. So my least favorite to my favorite. The first one on the list, or number 3 on the list, no surprise to anybody, this is H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, which, if you don't remember from last month, this actually is an Asylum feature. So the fact that I am putting this at number 3 on the list is only because of the 2 other films it was going up against, because frankly, I enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect, but it is fun. Like, one of the funniest things are the creatures look like giant crabs, which is just funny. But this is really competently well acted. Like, C. Thomas Howell is a genuinely good actor. There is just a lot of fun to be had in this one. Now, I will admit, it does get bogged down in the middle, and it's a scene that's from the original novel, but man, it just felt like it dragged on for so long. It got really religious, which is not my thing at all, and so it really bogged down in the middle. It was going great, and then it hit the middle, and it was starting to decline, but finally it gets out of that and moves to the climax, and it does a really good job at the end as well. So I thought this one was much better than I anticipated, and you bet I'm going to move on to the sequel, which I also have in my collection. Let me look real quick. I forget how many stars I gave this. Let me check that real quick. So I ended up giving it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. So, you know, it's kind of middle of the road, but for an Asylum film, this is quite enjoyable, and one I would actually recommend if you know what you're getting into, a low budget Asylum movie. So yeah, I liked it a lot more than I expected I would. So number 3 on the list is H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. Number 2 on my list is going to be Chronos. So this is directed by Guillermo del Toro. It is his feature debut from 1993. And this is a first time watch for me, and it was really good. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars and thoroughly enjoyed it. It is kind of a quiet vampire film, I guess I'll say. But it is done so well. The special effects in here, the practical effects are excellent. There are some moments that are just so like moving when you don't expect them to be, which I think is something that Del Toro does really well. I noticed that with Pan's Labyrinth as well. It's just, he is a wonderful director that finds emotion in places you wouldn't expect it. So I thoroughly enjoyed Chronos. I have a few more that I need to watch from him from the Criterion Collection, and so I definitely need to add those to the top of the priority list because I really enjoy what I've seen from him so far. So yeah, really happy that this is now a movie I can talk about. So Chronos, 4 out of 5 stars, ends up at number 2 on this ranking order. That, of course, means that my favorite film from my TBW game last month is the Stanley Kubrick film from 1957, Paths of Glory, with a brilliant Kirk Douglas in this film. This has got to be the best anti-war film I think I've ever seen, at least that I can recall offhand. It is just so well done from start to finish. It is like, I don't know, it is a slower film based on what's going on here. The first part of the movie is basically like the war film. The middle part is a courtroom drama. And then the finale is just kind of the aftermath. Like, I don't know, it is just incredible. There are some lines in here that will stick with me forever. Like, I don't know, just stick with me for a very long time. The way Kirk Douglas's delivery on some of these is remarkable. Just the way that they handle this, like, anti-war film in such, I don't know, it's just such a unique way that I didn't see it coming. And there's an event here that like is trying to be prevented, and marching up toward it. It's, you know, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? And man, at the end of this movie, I think I put in my Letterboxd review, I just felt numb because there is so much that goes on here, and it's just so powerful for the entire film. There are characters who I absolutely despised. I wanted to pull them out of the screen and punch them in the face. I hated them so much, which is a mark of excellent acting and excellent writing. So this was just so much better than I had ever anticipated. So happy I finally watched this one. The top film I watched last month, a 5-star review from me, is Passive Glory by Stanley Kubrick from 1957. So those were the 3 that ended up on my TBW game last month. So yeah, it was an awesome month. When the worst movie you've seen is 2.5 stars that month, like, that's pretty darn good. So now let's go over the rules real quick of the letter and prompt game, and then we'll figure out what I'm watching for July. As always, I'll try to go over these as quickly as I possibly can so I don't bore you, but the basics here are that I select a letter from the Scrabble bag, which is going to have all the letters plus 2 blank tiles. If I choose a blank, I can use any letter in the alphabet. And then I match that letter with a prompt that's in the deck of cards. So right now, the deck is actually down to like 14 cards right now. So there is no duplicates in here from when I started this new game back in March. So there are going to be new things that I pull this month, which I think is exciting, at least for me. So then I have to match a film title that begins with that chosen letter with that prompt that I pick. So a couple caveats here. This has to be a physical media pick. Unwatched films, they're encouraged, but they are not required. I can rewatch something if I choose to. And finally, if I can't find a film that matches that letter, then I just basically move down the alphabet until I find the first letter that does match that prompt. The letter will go back in the bag at the end. The prompt stays out. I think I have on here until like next month, but it stays out basically until I choose to put them back in. And then if I draw that letter a second time, it becomes the director's first or last name as opposed to a film title. Oh, and there are also jokers in the deck, and I actually have one still. I've had this one for a couple months now and have not needed to use it. But basically what this is if I don't watch a movie in that selected month, then I have to get rid of it because it means that I don't care enough to keep it. But if I have a Joker card, I can save it. And so once I use a Joker card, it does go back in the deck. There is still one more Joker in that remaining 14 or 15 cards. So I could potentially draw another one today, but we shall see. So let's do it, guys. Let's figure out what it is that's going to be on my July TBW. All right, so I'm going to draw the first letter here, and we have, oh my goodness, what a one to start with. We have the letter Z, so this should be interesting. Let's see what Z is going to match up with. I know I've said it in the past, but I don't really feel I need to show you guys me shuffling, but just in case, I'm going to cut it here, and we're going to pull the first one at the top. All right, so this is watch a film in black and white. So this is an option or a situation where I might have to move up to letter A and then go back down because once I hit Z, of course, there's nowhere to go. And so, yeah, so we'll see if I can find a film that begins with the letter Z that's in black and white. As predicted, I do not own any films that begin with the letter Z that are in black and white, so I did have to kind of wrap around the alphabet, go back to A, and fortunately, I do have some there. The one I decided to go with is actually going to be one of the options on the Wolfman Complete Legacy Collection. I'm going to be watching from 1948, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So this will actually be a second time watch for me. I did watch this, but it has been probably 5 to 7 years at this point. It's been quite a while. You can see it's on its own disc there in this set, which is always cool. But yeah, so this is one that I liked the first time I saw it, and I am very intrigued to visit it again. The other option I had for A was like over 3 hours, so that wasn't happening. Instead, I will be revisiting Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein from 1948. So Z is back in the bag, and now I have to pull the next letter. That prompt, of course, will stay out for the time being. Let's see what we got here. Oh, if I find it, there we go, the letter F. All right, so the letter F. Let's see what the letter F is going to match up with. All right, so let's give it one more cut here and pull that top card. Upside down again. Let's see. This is rewatch a film you disliked the first time you saw it. Okay, really cool. I've been looking forward to this one. Now let's see if any of the movies that I've watched the first time that I didn't like begin with the letter F. There were a surprising number of films that I disliked the first time I watched them that started with the letter F. So this made this one a little bit more interesting. What I'm going to go with, though, is one that you guys will probably be surprised that I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. I won't say I hated it, but I think this is my least favorite of this director, who is one of my, top 3 directors of all time. I'm going to watch The Fog. I'm going to give John Carpenter's The Fog a second chance, because when I first watched this one, I marked on Letterboxd that I've seen it, but I didn't give it a score or anything, so it was before I was doing that, so I don't know when I watched it, but it was quite a while ago now, and I don't know what score I gave it at this point, but yeah, so I remember thinking that this one was overrated when I watched it, so I need to give it a second shot and see what I was missing. Hopefully I will like it better this time around. The other option I was considering was Fear.com, which I hated the first time I saw it in high school, but that one I just feel like I'll still hate, so at least this one, there's a chance I might like it more, so we'll see. So the one I'm going to watch, this is the Scream Factory Collector's Edition, which I'm now realizing does not have a slipcover, which is really disappointing. Either way, this is The Fog, and I think this is, 1980? Yeah, 1980, so hopefully I will enjoy this one on a second viewing. So F is back in the bag, and I have one more to go here, at least I think one more. We'll see what happens. So this is the letter T, so that's a pretty good one. Now, of course, the word the does not count in this game, so it would have to be something that begins with the letter T, excluding the word the. But let's see what that is going to pair up with. We'll do it this way, and we'll give it a cut here, because that's good enough. There's not many cards in there. All right, so another one that's upside down. Continue a film series you've started previously. Wow, I forgot all about this one. So this is going to be very interesting. All right, so let me see what it is that I can find. So this means basically like I've seen the first or the second movie in this franchise, but I stopped and I never continued on. And so something is coming to mind right now. So let me go find it. Give me just a minute. As I was talking, it struck me that there is a perfect option for me that starts with the letter T, that I watched the first one in the franchise, but I never continued it. So this is embarrassing, but that's the whole point of this, right? So I am finally going to watch Terminator 2. I have never seen Terminator 2, which is just ridiculous, I know. But Terminator 2 Judgment Day is most people's favorite in this franchise. And so, yeah, I am very excited about this. So, with that said, I'm actually going to add the Terminator to my non-letter and prompt portion of my TBW, because it has been so long since I've seen it. Honestly, I didn't even love it when I first saw it. So I need to give that one another watch, and then I will watch Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So Terminator does not count. Like, if I don't get to it for whatever reason, I don't have to unhaul. Terminator 2, I would, and I'd have to get rid of this entire anthology if I don't watch it. So you best believe it's happening. So this is a 2-for-1 pick. So not only am I adding Terminator 2 on my TBW for the game, I'm also adding Terminator to my list as well. So I know that you guys are probably shocked I haven't seen Terminator 2, but I'm going to correct that in July. So that is going to be the third film on my TBW and a fourth film. So that's always fun. So those are my 3 films from my letter and prompt game. So again, if I don't watch one of these, I do have to unhaul it unless I use my Joker, which I can use this to save one of them so I don't have to get rid of it. So we shall see how the month goes. So I actually do have a few more films I want to add to my TBW, but these ones will not be part of the game. So if I don't get to them, I don't get to them, but the plan is to watch these. The first one, of course, is the Terminator, the original, with Terminator 2 being on my letter and prompt game. So I want to watch the first one again before I do it. And then the next one I want to watch is actually the film Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I talked about this in my TBR. The reason I want to watch this is because I want to I want to read the kind of behind the scenes book about it, but I want to watch the movie just one more time to kind of refresh myself before I go into it. Now, I've seen this movie more times than I can count at this point, but any excuse to watch it is a good excuse. So I'm planning to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. And then the other one I want to do is Ready Player One. So this one is actually a film that I watched for the first time and I hated it, but I love the book. So I love the original novel, and Ready Player Two is on my list of books to read for this year, according to my media goals. I actually started it, listened to about the first 10 minutes, and just thought, man, I don't remember any of this. I don't really want to read the whole first book again, and so I figured, watch the movie. Hopefully that'll refresh you enough that you can then, dive into Ready Player Two. So that's the goal. So I'm hoping to watch Ready Player One this month as well, in preparation for reading Ready Player Two, hopefully in August. So yeah, along with Terminator, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Ready Player One are 3 more movies that are being added to my TBW, but again, not the game portion, just movies I hope to watch. All right, so there is my July TBR and TBW, excluding, of course, all those digital books I have on there as well, but this should be a heck of a month. I am finally going to watch Terminator 2, which is just remarkable to me. I get to revisit John Carpenter's The Fog. That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know, just a boatload of things that I'm excited to consume for the month of July. But let me know down in the comments below, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you playing? Whatever. What are you doing in the month of July that's media related? I would love to hear about those in the comments below, and let me know if any of these are ones that you've already read or watched, if they're any good or not. I love hearing that as well. But as always, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like down below and consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube as I make my march toward 1,000. I really appreciate all of your support, so thank you for that. And like I always say, I don't just talk books or movies, I talk all things media, be it books, movies, collectibles, manga, graphic novels. If it's media related, I'm interested in it, and if you are too, you might consider subscribing. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.